What's going on, y'all? We're back with another one. We got how good was Ed Reed actually? I still got a lot of rookies to react to, as well as I will be doing the play NFL player highlights from this past season as well very soon. So all that's coming. But yeah, man, let's check this out. One of the best safeties of all time. You could argue the best. You know, that's your opinion. If you feel that way, I'm not mad at it. But when I started watching football, him and Troy Polamalu were the creme de la creme of safety. So from what I've seen, like in my personal experience of watching safeties, he's the best safety I've ever seen. It's between him and Troy. You know, you could argue. I was a big Troy fan. I was a big Steelers fan at one point when I was younger.
Reed actually? Well, when you look up ball hawk in the dictionary, there's just a picture of Ed Reed. No safety has ever been more complete. We're talking about a guy who once baited Peyton Manning, but also leveled players for fun. A guy who has the 2 longest pick sixes in NFL history. A guy who Bill Belichick called,
"You're the best free safety that's ever played this game that I've seen. You're awesome."
You know what's kind of crazy though, bro? Like now, it's not even a free safety, strong safety. Like how it was back then. It's not free safety, strong safety like how it is, like how it was. It's like you just play safety, you know. The position is so versatile now, you know. It's not about being designated to do one thing. It does exist, but it's nowhere near as much as I feel like like specific as it was back then. Like you knew, I don't know, you know, like safeties nowadays, they all like you can have 2 guys who are slim safeties on the same team. They both look like free safeties, you know what I mean? Back then it was kind of easier to tell. You can look at them and kind of tell who the strong safety and the free safety was.
How good Ed Reed really was, we need to understand how Ed Reed came to be, looking at the many highs and even lows of his illustrious career. For many high school football stars, playing offense is what they love, and defense is just something they have to do. Ed Reed didn't see it that way. For nearly his entire high school career in Destrehan, Louisiana, Reed was all about the defense. Sure, he took snaps at various positions on offense, but where he truly thrived was at safety. In his senior season alone, he recorded 83 tackles, 7 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, and returned 3 punts for touchdowns. And like many before him, football was Reed's ticket out of a tough situation. Early on in his NFL career, he opened up about his upbringing and admitted, "I never was in jail, but I did some things that probably would have put me there." Fortunately for Reed, the Hurricanes came calling. With several other offers, Reed picked Big East powerhouse Miami to continue his career. The U dominated the 80s and early 90s, racking up 4 national championships in 9 years. But when Reed arrived, it had been 5 years since their last title, and he was about to be a big part of getting back to their winning ways. After redshirting the 1997 season, he was given his first test as a starter in 98. Reed passed with flying colors.
I remember this team was so loaded, had so many if I'm not mistaken, NFL Hall of Famers on it.
And forcing 4 fumbles. In 1999, he followed up with 2 more interceptions. But this was all just a taste of what was to come in his final 2 seasons for the Canes. In 2000, Reed averaged 2 pass breakups a game and totaled a whopping 8 interceptions.
That is crazy. Averaged 2 pass breakups a game,
earning him consensus first-team All-American honors. Then, somehow, Reed put together an even more iconic senior campaign. He led the NCAA with 9 interceptions, being named the 2001 Big East Defensive Player of the Year. And apart from Reed's individual honors, Miami went undefeated, culminating in a national championship win over the Nebraska Cornhuskers in the Rose Bowl. Reed finished his career at Miami as a national champion and the most accomplished DB in the school's history, as he still holds the all-time interception record with 21. But after becoming a household name as a Hurricane, Reed now had the NFL in his sights. Reed's hard-hitting and nose for the football causes many NFL fans to forget he was not an elite athlete by NFL standards. He stood at just 5'11".
You know who I feel like has Ed Reed athleticism? Like fast and a big hitter? Darnell Savage. Athleticism though. But that's it, you know. I'm not there's no current modern day NFL safety I can even think of coming close to comparing Ed Reed to right now. Like there's some good safeties out there, but generational talent safety is there one right now? You know, like there's some really good safeties, but I don't know.
205 pounds.
Just for all the people always say Ed Reed small.
And his 4.57 40-yard dash in the 2002 NFL Combine.
He ran a 4.5. What? Oh my gosh. I never knew that. I never knew that, bro. This dude is so fast. He is so fast, bro. That makes no sense to me. But 40 times don't mean nothing. 40 times ain't nothing. This dude was so fast. Even on Madden, I think he had like 94 speed, 95, something like that at one point.
Was middle of the pack. But what the Ravens saw in Ed Reed were his instincts and work ethic, leading them to draft him 24th overall.
That really blew my mind on the entire safety position. I said Darnell Savage because Savage runs like a 4.3. So,
as the smartest player I've ever coached, his natural intuition and preparation for the game exceeds anything I've ever been around. No player had better range, and Reed proved his coach right from the jump, emphatically introducing himself to the rest of the league. He broke up 12 passes, tallied 5 interceptions, and had 85 tackles in his rookie season. Nowadays,
it's a great rookie
those numbers
season.
would undoubtedly lead to a Pro Bowl selection, and maybe even an All-Pro team.
I'm still tripping off this 40 time, bro. And Jerry Rice ran a 4.6. Ed Reed ran a 4.57. So, 40 times it don't mean nothing, bro.
But after a tremendous debut, Reed was snubbed, and this would serve as fuel for him to up the ante in 2003. He increased his pass defended total to 15, while also upping his interception total to 7, including a pick 6. Throw in a forced fumble and 71 tackles, and Reed had solidified himself as an elite DB in just 2 years, getting that Pro Bowl nod and second-team All-Pro selection he was robbed of the year before. He also made his playoff debut that year in a 2017 loss to the Tennessee Titans. Although it ended in a Ravens defeat, Reed brought down his first playoff interception during an exceptional performance. And then, for a third straight season, Reed upped his game again. His 2004 campaign was nothing short of one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen from a safety. Reed registered 17 passes defended and led the league in interceptions with 9, including a then NFL record 106-yard pick 6.
Ed Reed takes it out of the end zone.
This season showed the world that Reed was not only an elite ball hawk, but also an elite runner with the ball in his hands. His 358 interception return yards in 04 broke the NFL single-season record. He also forced 3 fumbles, had 78 tackles, and earned 2 sacks. Reed was everywhere, leaving little to debate as he was named Defensive Player of the Year, in addition to a first-team All-Pro.
I was wondering that too. Did he get a DPOY? But there we go.
Performance was that the Ravens missed the playoffs, and unfortunately, 2005 didn't get much better. For the first time in his career, Reed missed significant time due to injury. After playing nearly every game at Miami and every game through his first 3 NFL seasons, an ankle injury caused him to miss 6 games. Reed still played at a solid level, but it was clear that he wasn't 100%, and Baltimore missed the playoffs for the second straight year. Regardless, the Ravens knew they had a special player and made sure to get out the checkbook ahead of the 06 season, paying Reed $40 million over 6 years. Locking in Ed Reed for the next 6 years was a no-brainer. But even the Ravens couldn't have anticipated how dominant.
It's crazy how much players be getting paid now. Oh my gosh.
Of all the QBs that explained why Reed is so dangerous, NFL legend Tom Brady may have phrased it best. You never knew what he saw, but he saw everything. You were never going to fool him. He was just on some incredible defenses. He's one of the greatest safeties I've ever seen.
Yeah, Ed Reed. Ed Reed was, if you haven't seen him, go watch him. The guy was unbelievable and played as good as any secondary play in history. Ed Reed.
In 2006, Reed rebounded from injury to start all 16 games.
Well, it's one thing I used to love that he would do. He would crouch. He would crouch and like try to, I guess, stay out of the do his best to stay out of the quarterback's vision and try to crouch, whether he be in a box or not too far where he's in that range, and that'll give him an advantage. If it's not a very high IQ quarterback or super intelligent, he may overlook him and make a read or think something, But again, he do this before the ball snap. He would crouch like real low, and I don't know. I remember when I was in high school, I played corner, but in certain situations where it wouldn't be a receiver to that side, I would definitely try to like do stuff like that. But again, like I said, Yeah, arguably, you can argue the best safety ever. Argue.
For his second first-team All-Pro honor.
Just so many little
Continued
things
to
that
build a
he just
reputation for playing
his
best
IQ
in
at the
playoffs.
position was just
In
so
an ugly
high, bro.
15-6 loss to the Indianapolis Colts, Reed picked off Peyton Manning twice. In 2007, he followed up with another 7 interceptions, breaking up 13 passes for good measure. But in 2008, the Ravens star had yet another all-time great season. Reed tied his
Boy, them
2004
Steelers was-
interception total with 9, leading the league in interceptions for the second time. He also defended 16.
Oh my gosh, another season with 15 plus passes defended is crazy. And I mean, you got two 9 interception seasons.
Interception total with 9, leading the league in intercept.
Nick Collins, I remember him. Charles Wilson and Nick Collins. Michael Griffin, good boy Troy. Man,
For the second time. He also defended 16 passes and forced and recovered a fumble for a touchdown, along with 2 pick sixes, one of which was a 107-yarder, breaking his own record for the longest in NFL history. Baltimore fans should still be upset that Steelers defensive end James Harrison won Defensive Player of the Year that season. Even more upsetting is
I
that
forgot
Pittsburgh
James Harrison
beat
had a
the Ravens in
DPOY.
the AFC Championship, keeping Reed out of the Super Bowl for another
Completely
year.
forgot that.
Even with 2 interceptions in Baltimore's 3 playoff games, Reed's dominance wasn't enough. Another injury disrupted his 2009 season, but Reed was still a second-team All-Pro and had 3 interceptions. Even his down years were better than most safeties' best, and he was a monster in the Ravens' playoff campaign with 2 interceptions in their 2 games. As injuries became a more prevalent thing in Reed's career, his 2010 season can only be described as one of the NFL's great what-ifs. Due to a hip issue, Reed underwent surgery before the season began. Recovery took far longer than anticipated, meaning that he had to miss the first 6 games of the campaign. But when he finally did hit the field in Week 7, any doubts were instantly erased. Reed made his return with 2 interceptions. And in his 10 appearances in 2010, Reed brought down multiple interceptions on 3 occasions. He ended the regular season with 8 interceptions, a league high despite missing...
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. 8 picks and he missed 6 games.
Nearly half the season. Despite a critical injury, surgery, and significantly less time, Reed still earned his 5th first-team All-Pro honor. Reed had never played better in his career, but he had back-to-back seasons with significant injuries and was about to experience one of the toughest moments of his life. On January 7th, 2 days before the Ravens were set to face the Kansas City Chiefs in the wildcard round, Ed Reed lost his brother Brian. According to Reed's account, Brian was having mental issues before driving off from his family. The Reed family called the authorities in order to bring him home.
Contacted the police and had to report the car stolen to try to basically slow my brother down and just bring him in, bring him home.
But Brian refused to comply and jumped off a bridge in Harvey, Louisiana. Ed was shell-shocked. He was tough, but this kind of loss was something different. He was a loving kid, Reed said. He had a son who he cherished and loved. That was his reason for living. We are not immune from trials and tribulations that go through life. Despite suffering an incredible loss, there was only one thing Reed could do: get back on the field and play the game that had always been his escape.
Everybody know what went on this week with Reed. He put it aside and he played for us. That's a true champion and a true warrior.
The Ravens' defense rallied around Reed, only giving up 7 points in their 37 win over the Chiefs. And teammate Terrell Suggs said after the game, "Who's a better teammate than Ed Reed? He didn't have to play today, but he chose to play. It was the simple fact that we wanted to give him 3 hours of peace." It definitely was an emotional win for him and the rest of us too. Unfortunately, the Ravens weren't able to carry that momentum over to the next week as they lost to the Steelers, in the
bro.
divisional round.
Steelers was tough. They had some great matchups. Steelers and the Ravens, amazing rivalry. Right now, I mean, like, it's still that. It's still competitive, but I feel like the rest of the division has kind of caught up. And I mean, obviously, the Ravens have been the most consistent thing in that division since Lamar Jackson.
In 2011, Reed appeared in every regular season game for the first time since 2008. He made his 8th Pro Bowl appearance after a 3-interception season, and the Ravens made their 2nd AFC Championship appearance with Reed. And as so many playoff hopefuls did, they fell short to Brady and the Patriots. Entering his 34-year-old season, it was clear what Reed was missing. He had accomplished everything except the Lombardi Trophy. Time was not just running out in terms of the safety's age, but 2012 would also mark the final year of his 6-year deal with Baltimore. Through the first 11 games of the season, it appeared as if the Ravens were the NFL's team to beat. Baltimore went 9-2, and Reed had 3 interceptions and 11 passes defended. But Baltimore didn't just cruise from there. In fact, things were about to get really rocky for the Ravens. Baltimore lost their next 3 games. After another brutal rivalry loss to the Steelers, they were then upset by Washington and dismantled by Peyton Manning and the Broncos. All the confidence from the first half of the season.
That Peyton Manning Broncos team, man.
Baltimore was entering the playoffs.
Offensive monster.
And first up, Andrew
That's some good
Luck
defensive
and the
guys,
Colts.
too.
Baltimore's defense found itself right away, not allowing Indianapolis to score a single touchdown. It was the exact type of win Reed and the Ravens defense needed. But that win set up a divisional round rematch with the Broncos less than a month after Manning torched the Ravens. Baltimore used everything in the tank. Both teams traded haymaker after haymaker before Ravens
Torrey
QB
Smith.
Joe Flacco found a mile-high miracle in the form of Jacoby Jones streaking down the sideline to tie the game at 35 and force overtime. While that game
Ooh,
was
I remember
all about
that.
the offense, it was Reed's partner at safety, Corey Graham, who picked off Manning late in overtime to set up a Justin Tucker game-winning field goal.
Kick is on its way, and it looks good.
For the 3rd time in his career, Reed was headed back to the AFC Championship. Once again, Brady and the Patriots awaited the Ravens. Who else? But this was a rare moment where Brady was human, throwing 2 interceptions and keeping Baltimore in the game after taking an early lead. Both Baltimore's offense and defense came in clutch late. After scoring 2 TDs to take a 28-13 lead, the defense held off Brady to punch their ticket to the Super Bowl. The Ravens met the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl, setting up the Harbaugh Bowl. But from Reed's perspective, this was simple. This was his only chance at a Lombardi
That's
trophy.
probably one of the most fire Super Bowls ever. Like 2 brothers being the head coaches. I think only way you could beat that is if 2 brothers were the starting quarterbacks. That's the only way you could beat that. But that's probably one of the most fire.
Trophy. It was the biggest game of his career. And like nearly every playoff appearance before it, Reed was ready to make a statement. After the Ravens jumped out to a 14-3 lead, Reed locked on to 49ers QB Colin Kaepernick and intercepted him to set up a potential blowout. While the 49ers refused to roll over, they dug themselves too deep a hole to climb out. After building a 28-6 lead, Baltimore held on to win 34-31 for the organization's 2nd ever Super Bowl. Just a year removed from the death of his brother, Reed had finally reached the pinnacle of pro football. The kid from Louisiana honored his brother's memory the best way he knew how, by becoming a champion. The following offseason, Reed considered retirement, but he just couldn't do it, despite the Ravens allowing him to walk. He was a free agent for the first time in his career, and he decided to switch teams for the first time, joining the Houston Texans.
Man, when I tell you, this was so sad. I bought a T-shirt, you know, like the T-shirt jerseys. I got one with Ed Reed on it, and it just didn't pan out. He said something about the coaching. I can't remember exactly what it was, or the organization, ownership. I don't know exactly, but it just didn't work out. He said they didn't let him be himself or something like that, but that was tough.
For one last payday. It lasted until November. After a loss to the Arizona Cardinals, Reed publicly said that the Texans had been outplayed and outcoached. He was then released. But Reed's football story didn't end there. Instead, he gave it one last ride with the New York Jets to end the 2013 season. In 7 games with the team, he totaled 3 interceptions. Not too shabby for a 35-year-old. Ed Reed finished his career 7th all-time in interceptions and 1st in interception return yards. He racked up 9 Pro Bowls and 5 first-team All-Pros, on his way to becoming a first-ballot Hall of Famer in 2019. For more content on the NFL's all-time great players, line up with...
Good vid, Blitz. Good vid, man. Yeah, definitely, man. All time great. Like I said, I don't know what happened with the Texans. I think the way he described it was like, okay, you are here to fit the organization, not or in the roster, not vice versa. And a lot of players in the NFL are anti that, because some of the most successful teams have been, coaches that are the opposite, and I feel like nowadays, coaches like Sean McVay, coaches like what's McDaniels from the Dolphins, Andy Reid, like some of the best coaches in the league You can kind of say Shanahan with the Niners. They built a system around the weapons that they have, not say, okay, this is my system and y'all are going to fit my system. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of both. You know, there's a little bit of give and take there. But I don't know, maybe that was just some of the situation there in Houston. But I wanted it to work out. I for sure. I think everybody wanted it to work out. Nobody wanted to see Ed Reed fail. But y'all let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe, stay tuned, stay blessed.